Hey everyone, Nubkeks here, and welcome back to Heroes of the Storm and our unranked draft series where we take heroes that are not that popular in the meta at the moment and explore exactly how they work, how you fit them into a draft, and then build them in the game. In today's video, we are going to be playing as Zagara, and we will be using her on Blackheart's Bay. Right before we jump into the video, I just very quickly want to give a big shout out to the Wandering Scholar and Per for the very generous donations. I will talk about those in more detail and address your messages in a sort of channel update video, which I'm planning to do in the next couple of days. But just in case you're wondering if I did receive those, I have received those. Thank you very much, and we'll come back to you in another video where we can talk about it properly. Let's go back to Zagara though in today's video. So Zagara, pretty interesting hero. She was very dominant a while ago, but has fallen off a lot lately with a lot of nerfs. I think she's a pretty middle of the road hero, but we will be exploring her strengths and how to use those best in today's video. You can see our teammate, or one of our teammates, I think they're actually a triple Q. I could be wrong. I think they are. We'll find out when we get to load screen. I think they are though, but they are not too happy. At least our Crayon player is not very happy with us picking Zagara on this map, but we'll see exactly how it works out. You can see him checking out the talents as well, just double checking everything. But yeah, her best maps, I actually thought it was really interesting searching her maps and her win by maps by Master MMOR, the Master MMOR bracket on Hotstocks. Very definitively, she has three strongest maps. They are Sky Temple, Tomb of the Spider Queen, and Dragonshire. Incidentally, it's very interesting that she's very bad actually at Blackheart's Bay in Masters MMOR bracket, at least in the last week. She only has a 40% win ratio right there, whereas on those three maps I mentioned before, Sky Temple, Tomb of Spider Queen, Dragonshire, she's got a 60 to 70% win ratio, which is really dramatic. The rest of the maps are hovering between like 52 and 46%. Infernal Shrines being her worst map at the moment anyway. So that's just a bit of an insight into that. I do think she's going to be quite strong in Sky Temple, Tomb, and Dragonshire. I also think though that she's going to be very good on Blackheart's Bay, and what I want to do in this video is teach you guys how exactly that's going to work. You can see a bit of an insight already into it in what I was talking about here, and the sort of the convincing we're having to do in the chat box at the moment. But I'm saying, yeah, I'm going to be doing the jungle. I can even double soak top lane. It's going to be fine. I think one of the ways that people go wrong with her is probably running her in the solo bottom lane at the moment. I think Zagara, this is one of the big things that's happened to her. She used to be one of the best solo lane heroes in the game. I think though that she has fallen off quite a lot recently. Before, she used to have a lot of HP regen while she was on her creep. That has been removed. She no longer has any form of HP regen, any form of self-sustain, so she can be bullied out of the lane a bit more than before. The big strengths that she brings is that she is probably the PvE queen. She has phenomenal wave clear, she can push lanes incredibly well, she can take out structures very well as well, also deal with merc camps quite powerfully too. And yeah, you're going to see us using that in this game. I will be going for, by the way, in advance, that you know, we'll be going for a devouring, a Nydus Network build in this game. That's our heroic at 10, and we will be building around that. I think this is probably the only way, really, to play her on Blackheart's Bay. I think if you go for a Devouring Maw on Blackheart's Bay, there's a lot of heroes that you could pick that would work way better. I don't recommend it at all. But I think this build will work extremely well on Blackheart's Bay. I think it would also work very well, to go back to the three maps I was talking about earlier, I think it will work great on Dragonshire, great on Sky Temple. I'd probably go for Maw on Tomb of the Spider Queen myself. But and you're obviously open to going for Maw on Sky Temple or Dragonshire as well, it wouldn't be awful. But I think the Nydus build would work very well, extremely well on Blackheart's Bay. I think it'll also work very well on Dragonshire and Sky Temple. And basically what we're going to be doing with this build, our goal is to exploit just a massive amount of damage she can put out, the massive amount of map presence we can create, and yeah, it's basically going to be the name of the game. The enemy team has gone for a Li Ming, a Vala. They picked up Samuro, who's going to be their team's jungler on Blackheart's Bay. They still need a good solo lane hero, which is actually looking pretty difficult for them. They go for Murden and Rhaegar. So their team lacks actually a very strong solo lane hero. They've got no one who's actually that good in it, whereas we have Chen, who is one of the strongest. We also have Dahaka, who's one of the strongest as well. And Falstad, who's also not bad by any means. So looking not too shabby for us. I'm going to starting this game off going with the 4-man rotation up to top lane. Give you a very quick insight into how to play Blackheart's Bay well at high level in a draft game. You will have, at the start of the game, you're going to send 4 people to the top of the map. they're going to try clear out the 2 waves up top and then fight 4-man versus 4-man for the chest up top. You'll have 1 man doing the bottom lane, 1 versus 1 usually. Now we've got globals, so we can exploit this pretty well, whereas the enemy team has none. We've got 3, which is a big bonus for us. In fact, with me grabbing Nydus Network, we will have 4 once I get Nydus Network at 10, which is going to be pretty nice. Yeah, they are a 3-man stack, as you can see. The enemy team is a full 5-man stack. That's pretty cool. Yeah, Blackheart's Bay, very impactful if you can have a hero that can solo the top 2 lanes. So just by themselves, do the top 2 lanes. Easy peasy, that can be incredibly impactful. You can see Infest used to be the go-to for Zagara, but I believe that Volatile Acid is your go-to. This lets your banelings travel 50% further before they explode, and they'll also do 50% more damage to non-heroes. This is really going to help us with our wave clear, and it's really going to help us with taking merc camps. I think Infest is really strong if you're going to be pushing down structures. You'll see though in this game, like, I suppose just watch out for in this game. I don't actually know how often this will happen, but how often are we actually going to be pushing down structures with our minions? I don't think it's going to happen very often, and I think that's probably where a lot of people go a bit wrong with Zagara. It's very difficult because you don't have a lot of escapes. Like, your escape is bonus move speed on creep. You can be caught out and killed very easily, so especially on Blackheart's Bay where it's very large, I think you get yourself in a lot of trouble actually moving in and you know, trying to actually push down structures with your minions. You're asking to be killed. With Volatile Acid at level 1, it's going to let us just clear out the minions way easier. We're going to just build into that, just clearing minions just to get XP. We're not actually interested in pushing down the structures ourselves too much in this game. We just want to clear minions, get our minions pushing down the lanes, help just let them just fight the structures themselves, just get that XP nice and easy, and then get get the merc camps very easily as well and help them pushing in. You can see throwing out the Qs, trying to dismount the enemy team as they push in, push around, trying to get this quest. You can see Dahaka and Falset actually get out of there. Our buddy on Brightwing, unfortunately, Mercer, he gets taken out because half the team that was up here at the top lane with us disappeared all of a sudden, and we were left somewhat bereft. However, our teammates, by going down and using those 2 globals to go to the bottom lane, they do pick up a nice kill on the Samuro. So 5 coins for 5 coins. The enemy team got the full top chest, but we got the full bottom chest, and we traded a kill for a kill. So pretty even trade to start things out. You can see, by the way, just trying to establish a bit of a creep presence at the start of this game, and once again just focusing on clearing out these waves and pushing it in. We're not going to be that good at any of the stuff we're trying to do at the start of the game, but once we hit level 10 in particular, we're going to have a big power spike. I think that's one of the things to note about Zagara, is she's actually not as dominant early game as she used to be, that your big power spike will come at level 10. And also something we're going to discover in this game is that she's very much a win more hero. She's great when you are ahead, she's very strong when you're even, but if you do get behind in the game, suddenly her usefulness kind of collapses because your creep spread will be removed, it will be deleted, and you sort of pay a big price for that. You can see up here at the moment, again, we're using our banelings to really wipe out these lanes quite quickly and push them in. We're drawing 2 heroes away. We've drawn up Rhaegar and Vala to deal with us at the moment. We have Dahaka with us as well. In fact, let me open up Hotslogs and just double check what talent build. I just should open up the talent builds here on Hotslogs so I can quickly check what everyone went for. Dum-dum-dum. Meanwhile, while we're doing that, we're pushing in here, creating a bit of pressure, using our Qs to kind of harass people. We are low on mana, so we do want to get back. And yeah, you can see early game jungling is not going to be very strong for us, but once again, when we hit level 10, our jungling is going to just go through the roof. Jungling is the term we kind of use for Blackheart's Bay in particular, just focusing on taking out the neutral camps, the mercenary camps, and then the pirate, the doubloon camps here as well. Dahaka, yeah, level 1 Dahaka went for move speed from collecting essence, so he's not going to be that good at wave clearing, but certainly if he was, we could create a lot of pressure. You can see just keeping an eye on what's going on down bottom lane, and starting off on this siege camp. We're just going to basically spam all of our abilities. You can see we're using a lot of mana here in order to do this, but we are going to take out this siege camp very quickly and pretty efficiently. See, I've laid down creep as well while we're here, popping it in that vent to the north of you, very important. Very important. This will give you vision in the vent and to the north of the vent. You could be very vulnerable to being ganked while you're there. I've also thrown another creep tumor down here as well, which will give us even more vision. And this will give us a lot of protection when we're doing that bottom part of the map, just in case the enemy team did try to gank us right there. The amount of globals that we have will protect us from that. I was hoping to tap that well, but no such luck. We're going to move up and grab our bruiser camp now. Gonna try focus down. Unfortunately, I didn't place that Hydralisk very well. You can see it's actually being focused down, so about a third of its duration was wasted, which is unfortunate. But it's not the biggest problem in the world. At level 4, I do go for Medusa Blades, which makes our basic attacks do a third damage to 3 nearby targets. So this will really improve your damage on the bruiser camps. It will make you a good bit more efficient. It will also help you clearing out minion waves as well. I think this is by far, in my opinion, the best level 4. I'm not too impressed with the other level 4 ones, to be honest with you. And especially on Blackheart's Bay, you're not going to get much value out of those, whereas Medusa Blades on this very PvE heavy map will help you out an awful lot. So that's the one I go for pretty much always, and I think it works out quite well. In general. At level 7 I did pick up Viscous Acid, which will make our Banelings slow enemies by 20% for 1.5 seconds. I think it's pretty nice. Just going to give us a bit of utility in team fights, just help locking people down, make Samuro's life a bit more difficult, make Rhaegar's life a bit more difficult. Your other option is of course Bile Drop. I think that's the other only real choice. I think that's quite good as well. Of course, it is a quest that you stack from hitting heroes. I didn't feel like that might work out too well in this game, though of course it would work decently against Samuro. I think either one is a good option. Personally, I like Viscous Acid myself, but it's pretty open to you what you want to go for. I suppose one thing to bear in mind is if your teammates do have someone who's going to pick up Executioner, or some teammates who will like really thrive when they're slowed down, or if the enemy team will really suffer if they're slowed, Viscous Acids can be quite nice. And like I said, it's going to make Samuro's life trying to get on top of us and attack us kind of awkward. It's going to help to hack us, stay on top of people, keep myself and Falstad a bit safer, and Brightwing, so that's why I went for that in this game. But I wouldn't be mad at you if you went for Bile Drop. We are fighting over this point. We're doing quite well. Our team does have a bit of an XP disadvantage. You can see in the top lane, that bruiser camp that we picked up is getting work done. It looks like we're also going to secure ourselves a coin turn in right here. A lot of mana issues on Zagara though early on in the game. But that will be resolved when we pick up Nydus Network at level 10. And you'll see our playstyle at that point will start to change quite considerably, and our effectiveness will go up quite a lot. You can see Vala has gone up top to try deal with that Mercamp, which is pushing in and is achieving quite a bit of damage for us, which is quite nice. And we do secure that first turn in. I'm running down bottom to grab that siege camp. As soon as it respawns, pretty much, I will be there. We'll grab that. And yeah, that's basically the name of the game moving forwards, is to just farm our camps as often as possible. Be there when they spawn, grab them immediately to just maximize the amount of coins we can generate, maximize the amount of pressure we can create around the map by having siege camps pushing in. And yeah, just have a pretty good time doing that. That's basically what we're aiming for here. It's Blackheart's Bay. It's a weird map. It is a very weird map because it's such a PvE heavy map, probably the most PvE heavy map in the game. We have picked up Nydus Network. You can see I've laid down a couple just at the start, and we'll start trying to exploit that as we move forward. Throwing down a creep tumor and pushing in here. Let me explain Nydus Network. So it has a 60-second cooldown per charge. You can have 2 charges, and you can activate it to summon a Nydus worm on creep. So that's pretty useful right there. The Nydus worm will prevent the creep from despawning. It will effectively act as a permanent creep tumor in of itself. So yeah, you'll never run out of creep. They'll never despawn. They can be destroyed obviously, but it does help you maintain a better creep spread because your creep tumors obviously will run out eventually, but the Nydus worms never will, which is really nice. This is a fight's going really well for us. I'm actually late arriving to this fight, but our teammates have already picked up 2 kills, which is pretty fantastic. And we have actually got a level lead on the enemy team now. After securing our own turn in, and just the value those Mercamps are getting around the map, it's working pretty well. Setting up the worms also, what you want to do on these maps that I'm mentioning, where I think it will be quite effective. So Blackheart's Bay, Sky Temple, Dragonshire. On each of those maps, you have Mercamps that are quite safely positioned on your own side of the map. What you want to do is get a worm up at each of those and try to use that basically to get to those camps again whenever they respawn, and to just get there easily, get there quickly, and take those camps out as efficiently as possible. So you can see I've got one set up beside our coin camp to the bottom right hand side, got one set up right beside our siege camp. My goal at the moment now is also to set up one beside our bruiser camp. You can see I'm actually going to run up to the top lane, and this is a pretty good position for us. We picked up that coin chest. Right now we can clear out this big wave that's built up at the top lane, just get rid of that, stop that pushing in, get that XP for ourselves. Then we could rotate down and set up a Nydus worm at our merc camp. Our teammates are actually going to go and grab that for us though. That's fine, we're going to go grab this little doubloon camp instead. And they probably take a swing down. We'll see exactly what I do. Looking at this, and I don't remember, but looking at this right now, I'll be thinking, looks like, yeah, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm thinking, all right, I got one creep tumor ready to go, got one Nydus worm ready to go. Let's set this up right here outside this camp, and we'll have a good time coming back. This is actually not a very good placement for the worm. You want to place it further back. I believe I do use this later in the video, and the merc camp kills the Nydus worm. So pro tip, don't place it right beside the camp. Place it close enough so that it will keep a perpetual covering of creep on the camp, but not so close that when you aggro the mercs that they will actually kill the worm itself, and then you have to waste another cooldown on that. So the key things about the worm, right? While you're inside the Nydus worm, you regenerate 10% roughly of your max health and mana per second. It's the same as when you Hearthstone and you're sitting in the Hall of Storms. So this will give you just amazing uptime on the map. You can just keep hopping into your worm at all these different moments to just regenerate your mana. Really, really useful. You can see I've actually thrown another one down at the bottom half of the map, which is really nice. Now we've got one at our siege camp on the bottom left, got one at our merc camp at the top right. We've even got one of the bruisers on the bottom half of the map. Our one beside the doubloon camp was destroyed, so we're going to want to try spread that in a bit more and have that there. You can see why this would be useful, by the way, on like Dragonshire, especially, where getting around the map is going to be very useful. Sky Temple as well, that map mobility, very nice. And yeah, just helps you sustain a bit more in the fights. Basically, your mana issues on Zagara are now a thing of the past. Whenever you start running out of mana, you can hop into that Nydus worm, you can regenerate, and then hop out close to where you need to be. It just gives you a lot more uptime because you are very, very mana hungry. The final aspect, well, actually two final aspects, excuse me, of Nydus worm. The less important one is that your creep will go 15% further, which is kind of useful, not a big deal. The bigger deal is that while you are on creep, each basic attack reduces all of Zagara's cooldowns by 0.75 seconds. It's basically battle momentum. It's so useful, right? This will just help you generate way more damage, way more creep. It's just going to make you better in every single respect. You're going to push out a whole more wave push. You're going to push out a whole more... You get more Qs, so more Qs. Gonna help you just clear waves, clear merc camps way faster. It also means there's a talent level 7, by the way, that helps you improves the number of Q charges you can have. Considering you're just regenerating Q super quickly whenever you do a basic attack, it doesn't matter. Watch how quickly we're gonna clear this camp. Really, really easy. You're gonna drop that down. You can see every time we land a basic attack, we're standing on our creep, we're reducing all of our cooldowns. We're gonna get way more summons out, do a lot more damage, our Qs out way more often as well. You can see we are burning through our mana and even losing quite a bit of health doing this. Not a big deal, because what we're going to do, as soon as it's done, going to pick up these coins, nice pick up the regen globe, pop into our Nydus worm. Ta-da, fantastic. Look how quickly our health and mana is regenerating. And there you go. We can even pop out a Nydus worm and join our teammates up at the pirate ship. Lost no time and come back with full health, full mana. Pretty nice. Going to throw our bile drop there to the left-hand side, our infested drop. And have those guys kind of scout out that bottom passage for us as we move through. The enemy team pushing in. Rhaegar getting caught out of position. He has been silenced. He gets focused down with the vulnerability coming out as well from Brightwing. Really, really nice. He got absolutely wrecked. Was not in a good position. Our teammates continuing to chase down to the bottom left-hand side. Vala going very low, and Falstad picks up the kill. Murden on the run. Not going to be able to chase him or Li Ming down. They have escaped. But still a very nice turn of events for us. We could see Dahaka is fighting Samuro down the bottom in the right hand side as well. So we're actually popping Blade Storm, but Brightwing teleporting in. Falstad on the hunt as well. Doesn't look like Samuro is going to get out of here. Falstad has the W on him. Samuro actually using Windwalk, looks like. Maybe he does escape. No, he goes down. Bye, Samuro. Rest in pieces. It's nice knowing you. Not that nice, but a little bit nice. And we have returned to taking out these merc camps. By the way, level 13, I picked up Hydralisk Transfusion. I think this is probably the most useful overall So it heals Zagara for 75% of the damage dealt by your Hunter Killer, which is your W. And then level 16 we picked up Mutalisk, which means that our Hunter Killer, our W, will spawn a Mutalisk instead of a Hydralisk. They have a bounce attack, they fly, and they last for 45 seconds. So this is really useful. One of the things you're going to notice we're going to try to do is, as we're clearing out these Merc camps, you can see that one actually destroyed our Nydus Worm, which is kind of dumb. Very important, by the way, to keep your creep, maintain your position on the creep whenever you're doing... Ooh, we almost missed these coins, but we do pick them up. Be on the creep whenever you're doing bruiser camps, because that will reduce all your cooldowns. It also reduces the cooldown of the Nydus Worm, which is going to help you establish your Nydus network around the map really, really nicely. Pushing in here. Once again, looks like the enemy team wants to fight over this vision point. I'm turning in the coins. Looks like we're at this 9 in, pretty much no problem. And the fight is continuing. We throw down a creep tumor down there to the bottom of the turn-in point. Just make sure it's there, have that vision. And a big fight is erupting. You're going to be quite weak in a team fight with the Nydus build. You're not going to be as strong as you would be with Devouring Maul, unless you're on creep. But it can be quite difficult to ensure that you are on creep. If the team fight goes off creep, you're going to lose quite a bit of value because you won't have the battle momentum or anything like that. Not a huge deal, but something to bear in mind. We're running down here, going to hop in our network, pop out then near this top camp. There we go, that's the closest one we have. We're going to run down and just grab this as quickly as possible. But yeah, once you pick up Mutalisk, it's going to be really important. It's going to be quite advantageous to you to build up as many Mutalisks as you can on a given thing. Unfortunately, we destroyed this one before we get a second one out. But yeah, whenever you, like, for example, right there, we finish the chest, that Mutalisk is just going to go and push that lane in the meantime. Really useful. You can build up like 2 or 3 Mutalisks on each Merc camp that you do, and then that will go and help push down the lane. And you're just going to create a nice bit of lane push and pressure, which is pretty useful. Here we are, we're just going to steal away this siege camp. Looks like we are on the core though, 2 enemy team members dead. Cannonballs going on the core, our teammates are on the core as well, so it looks like we're going to win this game before we even get to steal this camp away. Oh, just as we were about to cap it. But GG. Well played, team. Worked out really nicely, and there you go. If you look at that mini-map, you might have caught a quick glimpse of it before the victory screen came up. You can see Nydus Worms all over our side of the map, creep all over our side of the map, working out really well for us. That should give you a bit of an insight into what I was saying earlier about... That was a game where we were basically playing from ahead, and Zagara was just a huge boon to our team. Just easily able to farm those Merc camps, probably better than any other hero in the game. I mean, someone like Illidan or Sonya, they're very good at doing it, but they've got to run from 1 to 1, whereas we can just wipe it out very quickly, just spamming all those abilities with the battle momentum cooldown reduction that we get from Nydus Network. Just bam, plow all that mana into them, hop into our worm, regenerate the mana, then hop out at the next Merc camp, ready to go. Hop out beside a wave that builds up, ready to go, clear it out, push it in, and yeah, just create massive map pressure. Of course, if you do fall behind with this build, what you will find is that the enemy team can then push into your side of the map, they'll steal away your Merc camps, they'll destroy your Nydus Worms, they'll wipe out your creep, and then suddenly you'll be at a disadvantage. Like I said, this build will work very well when you're ahead, it will work pretty well when you're even, because it can be difficult for the enemy team to invade your half of the map when you're going even. But if you do fall behind, you're going to find this Zagara build, you're quite a liability to your team, and I think that's part of why Zagara doesn't do super well at the moment, is that she's very much a win more character. When you're winning already, you can exploit her huge pushing potential, her huge wave clear potential, and establishing a really nice creep presence around the map and a nice Nydus network around the map. But once you start falling behind, that sort of all collapses in on itself, and you find yourself in a tough position. So yeah, I mean, there you go. By the way, level 20, with the Nydus Network, your choices are either Endless Creep, which will let you cast creep tumors around the map, which is really nice. It'll also make them last longer and you gain more movement speed on the creep. That's a good option. Fury of the Storm, then, which will make your basic attacks every 5 seconds do bonus damage and chain to minions, mercs, and monsters. Also a really good option. I think both are very strong. I don't really know actually which one to go for. I think either one will be good depending on the needs of the particular map. Do you want to spread your creep a bit more? Or do you want to be a little bit more efficient and quick at pushing down lanes, taking out mercs, and doing the objectives? It's up to you, basically. But yeah, as you saw in that game, we farmed up an immense amount of coins. We had our merc camps on farm, no problem whatsoever. Got a lot of vision control, a lot of pressure around the map, and it worked out really well. You'll achieve a similar thing on Dragonshire. You'll achieve a relatively similar thing on Sky Temple as well. And yeah, hopefully it will work out. You're not that great in a team fight. That's one thing to watch out for. You're not that great in a team fight. But that's why this build in particular, I think, works so well on a map like Blackheart's Bay, because there's not that many team fights on Blackheart's Bay. It's very much a PvE focused map. So the talent build, once again, Volatile Acid at level 1. Banelings go further before they explode 50% further, and they do 50% more damage to non-heroes, helping us take out waves. Again, you can clear waves from really far away really effectively with this talent. It's very, very useful. Helps you take out mercs as well quicker. Really nice. Level 4, Medusa Blades, or basic attacks, will splash for 33% damage to 3 nearby targets. You know, that's just going to add a nice little bit of extra damage in the team fights. It's going to add a lot of nice damage to clearing out minion waves. It's going to add nice damage to doing bruiser camps, and will help a little bit with the smaller camps as well. It's just a nice, consistent bonus to your AoE damage. Not a fan of the other ones, honestly. I just go for Medusa Blades every time, and it works just great. The wave clear on its own is very useful. Level 7 then, Viscous Acids. Banelings will slow enemies by 20% for 1.5 seconds. Good option all around, I think. You could switch it out for Bile Drop instead, which will increase the impact damage of your Infest, drop your E by 50%. And hitting heroes will improve the damage as well, which is, you know, it's pretty useful. I think Viscous Acid will just work from the get-go. You don't need to worry about a quest. So it depends, how easily will you be able to finish the quest. Blackheart's Bay, I'd probably go for Viscous Acids because you might not be teamfighting that much, like I said. Nydus Network then, level 10. I like it. I think that's the advantage of Zagara. She brings something that no one else brings with the creep and with the Nydus Network, and the amount of pushing and PvE damage that she can do. No other hero quite provides that. I think that's really useful. When you go for Devouring Maw, you're much more of a normal hero, and I honestly, a Devouring Maw Zagara at the moment is just not super impressive. Though I think she's still pretty good on those maps I mentioned. But on other maps, it's just there's better heroes that you can go for in terms of being a ranged damage dealer, a ranged pusher. There's other heroes that do it better. But yeah, Nydus Network is pretty unique. And that's personally what I go with on Zagara, because I like that unique playstyle. I think it's really cool. But Devouring Maw can be quite strong as well, depending on the situation. Again, probably be using that probably on Tomb of the Spider Queen. Where obviously the network is not really that good, is it? Because it's such a small map. You don't need the global mobility of the Nydus Network. You can exploit your Hearthstone and your healing wells more often. So you're not that reliant on the mana and stuff like that. Whereas teamfights are more prevalent. So Devouring Maw, I think, is your go-to in Tomb of the Spider Queen. But apart from that, I think Nydus Network on the bigger maps is a little bit better. Hydralisk Transfusion at 13. I think at 13 all the options are good. I think Hydralisk Transfusion is the most generally useful. But other options, you can go for them if you want to. Level 16 then, I think Mutalisk is definitely the best one overall. It's just, it adds just more consistent damage. If they don't get killed, they're going to be doing a lot of nice damage in the team fights as well. You could see that in a couple of team fights. We just had the Mutalisk just shooting away, adding just that little bit of extra damage throughout a longer fight. It's going to help you a lot in clearing out merc camps. It's going to push waves for you as well afterwards. They'll just continue down the lane attacking stuff. It's just a really nice ability overall. Really nice talent, Mutalisk. It's fantastic. Level 20. Endless Creep or Fury of the Storm. Depends on what you need. Probably lean towards Fury of the Storm myself, but Endless Creep isn't awful either. Depends, I suppose, on how much you need Endless Creep to help you establish a nice network. For example, if you're kind of going even and your network has been kind of wiped out a little bit, Endless Creep can help you rebuild it pretty easily. And also give you a bit more of an escape avenue if you are kind of going even and need to escape a bit more, whereas Fear of the Storm is maybe a bit of more of a win more talent. And I feel like if you're playing a win more hero and you're winning more, go for the win more talent. Just go for it. Easy. We didn't even get there in this game because we won before that. But there you go. And that is how you play her on Blackheart's Bay. You're very focused on farming your merc camps. You're very focused on controlling your waves, protecting your team. You will be relatively weak at your job early in the game, but once you hit level 10, huge power spike, and you just take off from there with the cooldown reduction, with the mana sustain, with the global presence. So useful, so strong. And yeah, again, people have not been having a lot of success with her on Blackheart's Bay, so hopefully this helps you guys out. We did this thing, we got the coin, the money bags MVP award. We didn't see exactly how many coins we collected or what percentage, but we got a lot, so that's pretty good. And yeah, we had a pretty strong impact in the game. Again, it didn't show overly much in the stats, I think, how effective we were being, but just the map pressure doesn't really reflect in the stats. But you could see that map pressure having an impact, the vision from the creep, the power of the merc camps. Like, we don't get any credit for what the merc camps do, but those merc camps were doing things, and we were behind most of that. And just the freedom then that map control gave to our teammates to really push forward and exploit it. It's not something you'll see reflected in the stats, but I think you could see it reflected in how easily we won that game. Yeah, so there you go, guys. Zagara, she's okay. She's okay. I like her. I don't think she's that strong at the moment, but there is a place for her. That's how you play her on Blackheart's Bay. Give that build a spin on Blackheart's Bay. Even take it for a spin on Sky Temple. Take it for a spin on Dragonshire. See how you do. Not the best hero on those maps, but certainly a good, solid option. Tomb of the Spider Queen as well. You can mix up the build there a bit if you want. Hope you guys have fun with that. Give it a thumbs up if you did. And I'll see you all next time for more Heroes of the Storm. Bye-bye.